What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. One Piece, Season 22, Episode 8. So in this episode, so the Straw Hat crew goes over, is taken by Gert to over where Saul's at. So, all the Straw Hats, they reunite, talk with the new giant warrior pirates. So Hadra introduces all of them. And then Gert takes them to where Saul's at. So they receive word that Saul's unconscious, passed out in the ocean. Doing to get there, Robin realizes that, oh yeah, no, it's fine. He's just doing what he did when he first met Robin. So he goes over there, basically says hi, they reunite. There's like a bunch of flashbacks to Robin's life. Then you have like an insert song. Um, that like so there's an insert song playing that's kind of uses the ending theme as well by Maki Atsuki. The song's called Seke wa Itari Janikata, or The World Wasn't Alone. Now Atsuki's done the first two ending themes. It was the Heart of Gold ending theme, then the 12th ending theme song, Dear Sunrise. So this is a person who's been involved with One Piece for a while. And yeah, so yeah, it plays. You see Robin Soul crying, you see all the Straw Hats, except for Luffy. Ryan watching it all go down. Luffy's just smiling. And dang, it was a great episode. So yeah, yes, not a lot happens. Like that's one of the things when you get to the beginning of an arc, when you have these one chapter per episode stuff. Sometimes it can feel like it drags, but Egghead did have some struggles with that in the early chapters, and Waldo near the end. But they were able to make it work, and Elbaf is doing a lot better job at handling that than I would say some of the early Egghead episodes did. So yeah, I thought it was a great episode. Like I did not cry. I will admit it was kind of hard not to. But yeah, I thought it was a great episode. Looking forward to the next one. One Piece, chapter 1183. So in this chapter, Emu tells Ragnar, says that he asks if Ragnar was waiting for someone who could attack Mew. And Ragnar's talking in squirrel speech, so we all know what he says. Loki doesn't know what Emu's talking about. And Emu says, that Loki and Luffy won't be his soldiers, he'll just kill them. And he says, just like Dozon. So we don't know who Dozon is, that's a mystery. Now there are theories that Dozon may be Joy Boy, that's his real name. That Emu may have killed Joy Boy, whatever. I mean, well, most of us expect that Emu killed Joy Boy. It's really, I guess, Dozon, since it starts with D, could be his real name, the Will of D, the Will of Dozon. It makes sense. And I'm willing, and I think that's possible, don't know. Especially with, so Emu called him, well, he didn't say Nidhogger and Nika. He said Loki and Luffy, which is where it can hint that Dozon could actually be Joy Boy. That he's actually using the name, not just like Nika or Nidhogger. So, then after Then it goes towards the Western Village where Gillingham and Zaza is having to have Zaza kidnap the kids. Um, Sanji arrives. Now, Sanji just sees Zaza. We don't see Sanji attack Zaza, which, odds are won't happen. Even though it's an illusion, it's likely a female. So we know how Sanji's gonna handle that. He's probably just gonna be focused on killing him while the rest fight Zaza, which makes sense. Now that you have at the so Usopp and Brook are still they're still injured. Nami and Jinbei are watching over them. Usopp asked about Gunko, asks how he knows her, why did he run off and fight her, and Brook says it's someone he went to see, or so he thought. He doesn't know, but he says if it's her, she has to be 77. But Nami says it has to be someone else because she's a celestial dragon. Brook says, she was the princess of his homeland, but he lost contact with her when she went to marry Joa. And it's like Frankie's there as well. And Frankie says, maybe just leave her there. And then, basically, obviously, Usopp says it doesn't matter if she's celestial dragon. It doesn't matter if she's celestial. It was like someone else. Doesn't change the fact she attacked Elbaf. Brook says that she undid the rope, and she told Brook to run. And then she turned to like a demon form, and he says her original personality saved them, and their demonic form. Basically, there was 3 people in there. He doesn't know what's going on, so he's wondering if she's being controlled. And it didn't occur to him until he saw people turn to demons. And Jimmy says they gotta figure out whether or not she lives or dies. And then Brooks starts talking about his past in Esperia, where he lived, which the kingdom no longer exists. So 70 years ago. Brooke, he's a popular singer. He's in the land of instrument makers, Esperia. And so Brooks like the leader of the Raider Squad, the Battle Convoy. He's 20 years old at this point. And, he's like, helping protect Princess Shuri, who's age 7 at this point. And basically, Brooke is really into Queen Candle, who's Shuri's mother, and Pina Reuven's like since a death for conspiracy. Reuven's like, "Hey, ever applying the killing?" And then Brooke's like, "No, I'm not gonna try to kill you. I'll just wait till death takes you to go after to get Candle." And Shuri says, when she grows up, she'll marry Brooke instead. And Reuven's like, "You're supposed to stay after him and make his heart melt." And Brooke says she doesn't want a wife with a runny nose, and Reuven kicks at Brooke for saying for turning down his daughter. Brooke's like, "Well, he's faithful." So then there's basically there's a gang that gets to the kingdom that's going after Queen Candle. It's the Mulan family is what it's called. So basically, Mulan's been after Candle for years for whatever reason. The transponder stays on silent during the show, and Mulan and Brooke says he saw the Mulan gang in the port earlier that day, and basically Reuven, she was saying he's got to help, Candle. Reuven, Brooke's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Candle's stronger. I can get her." And he said he already cut him. So then you see all the blood start coming out of him, like So, bastards are dealt with quickly. So yeah, there's two like famous people in Esper. You have Queen Candle, who's a former captain of the battle convoy, and well, Brooke, he's not really a popular musician. He's popular as a knight, as a leader of the Raider Squad, Hummingbrook. Guess he's not a very popular musician. I mean, I guess he's respected for his you know, sword fighting. Of course, this is before he became Soul King Brook. It says there is time the kingdom was at peace. So it's like some crap about that go down. So this is the Gungo flashback that we knew we were gonna get at some point, like near the end. I expected it to be during Brook's first fight with Gunko Emu, or during Loki and Luffy's fight against Gunko Emu, or near the end, like during the epilogue portion, kind of like with the Sabo flashback in Dressrosa, where that was like in the epilogue portion. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't think this is gonna be a long one. Like generally, you don't have two like really long flashbacks in an arc. And if we do, that won't. I don't think that'll happen till Laugh Tale or Mary Jella with the Void Century. But no, you have some brief ones here and there, but not a long one. Not outside the one long one only because in Wano you had Odin was the long one, Again with Uma. I mean like the Lovely flashback was only like I think like 3 or 4 chapters in the Egghead arc, so not really not really much of one. It's not a big one. And so I don't think we're gonna get a long flashback. I don't think there's much to tell. It's like, yeah, it was peaceful. Stuff went back quick. Move on. I think that's good. I think it's gonna be short. Probably the most I would say 5 chapters. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. First time we saw Brooke without his glasses on. So obviously hints that something may have happened. Did have a scar on his face. But yeah, that was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Kagurabachi Chapter 122. So in this chapter, you have so Subaru Urita, approaches Rokihira about basically his ability with using making swords. And he says, if you practice in the open, he would make a lot of money. But Rokihira says he doesn't really like making swords for money. And so, they discuss. He says he wants to make them to protect people and make the greatest swords ever. Then he's told he was gonna need money for that. And the guy's like, "Oh, good point." So then all like the sorcery bureaus talk about what happened to Mikaboshi. Shiba's recovering. Basically, the demands by the Mikaboshi are being adjusted to where not only do they want the Dotenseki, they also want the princess of the Shogun family. Basically, revenge on Soga in order to destroy the clan, but in order to bring their blood into the line. So the king wants the princess to bear his child. And yeah. So basically the princess that fell unconscious and had a bunch of visions saying that there'll be hell on earth. Basically the government's rejecting the demand, so there's about to be a war. Yeah, so then basically they need something in order to fight along. So Rookie here approaches Shiba, and then yeah. So basically it's discussed that they so now the plan for the enchanted blades is come up with. So they're setting up Rookie Hero making the enchanted blades. So he's ready in order to protect the princess and to help his friend Shiba. So now things are really starting. Yeah, that was a really good chapter. They're basically the enchanted blades about to get forced. The war's about to go on. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, chapter 93. So in this chapter, so Kiyoshi has like a more demonic appearance after absorbing all those demons' powers. So he has like black precept power. So he and Bowo prepare for a final clash. So they're in a fight. Basically like you see Kiyoshi like how he's fighting is basically like how Bobo's mother was wanting where demons and humans work together. So Bubba reflects on his mother's life and thinks of that he was actually the weakest one. So, and Kyoshi beats Bobo, thinking that he was actually truly the weakest one. And so, obviously, Bobo's beaten. We'll see what happens next chapter. So, see what happens if he's dead, alive. What will happen, Look like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ichi the Witch, chapter 83. So in this one, Hamaduro's, attacking Ichi. So yeah, so Ichi uses his powers to like now Minakata blocks the attack. Discards makes a shield. So you see the fight. So yeah, so and yeah, and the guy named Zero, or how he's like he said like it's like he tells for everyone to stay still. The Ichi's like okay, so he doesn't move, but Roku carries him, so he's technically correct. And he tells Minakata to he has a deal called Paraline, so Minakata tells Zero to go. So they all team up. So yeah, so Ichi does like a makes a bunch of ice replicas to like trick Amaduro. And then Amaduro goes up in the air, has the whole battlefield in her sights. And then you have a Zero like attacking Amaduro from above. So yeah, so I don't know if that's a final hit for a capture or if it's just simple fight like attack and fight still going. Who knows? But obviously there's the other villain that's still around. gotta deal with like the crazy way where. So yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to see the rest of this arc. See how the next chapter goes. Spy Family, chapter 135. So in this chapter, well, he's concerned about Yor arriving, and yeah, so door opens, for to be a director. Director Wilker, the SSS. Well, basically, some agents push us and say, "What are you doing here?" It's like there's civilians there. Basically, since his picture's already known as being involved with the SSS, he would look back because a lot of agents have covers. It's funny. He's like, "Wake up, wake up." So Wilker puts a disguise as a pizza guy, and then all the SS agents know it's the director. And Lloyd recognizes director, and he thinks that might be worse than Yor being there. So he thinks that maybe they do know he's Twilight. And so all the agents are like, "What are you doing here?" Basically, Wilker kind of lonely, the thought of everyone having fun without him. And so, Twilight's concerned of how to handle it. And yeah, so what's funny, all the agents are concerned with what to do. Because apparently there was a round the clock spy hunt he forced upon the agents based on very little intel. Because basically he apparently did it out of spite for not being invited to New Year's party. And Twilight hears that, he's like, "What?" Like I was freaking laughing. So then Wilker says hi to Twilight, or some pizzas like a chest revenge, and Twilight's like, "Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. I'm already full." And then Wilker's like, "You're refusing to eat my pizza?" And Yuri has one of the funniest quotes. He's like, "Oh, do not defy the pizza man. Shut up and eat a slice." And Lloyd's like, "All right, fine." And yeah, so obviously Lloyd's having some stomach issues now, dealing with all the stress. Yeah. And basically first tells Yuri to make sure Wilker doesn't get in trouble talking to civilians. And then Yor comes in. And like Yuri, when sees Yor, says, "You're like a graceful grain laying on a garbage heap." And the Marines are like, "You call this garbage?" And it's so funny, his reaction. He's concerned about Yor recognizing Curtis. Concerned, truly, it's public knowledge that SSS uses false identities, and exposing an officer's training in public would actually cause problems. And would be more sensitive having married out of fear to be reported the SSS. But Lloyd says what he's learned is that normal rarely applies with Yor. Then Curtis introduces himself to Yor as like a fishing buddy. Lloyd's like, "Wait, what?" Then Lloyd's thinking about possible what's going on. And Yor asks Yuri when he liked to fish. She thought he always hated it. Yuri says, he's grown up now. And Chloe says, and introduces herself to Lore, saying, "Oh yeah, you and Yuri look exactly alike." But she says that Yor's gorgeous. Says, "Is it because of Yuri's inner ugliness?" And Yuri says that's punishment for Chloe's deal with the pizza guy. And and like through my thing, following her memory, and Yor's like, well, actually, she said pleasing you, but she's wondering, that's a correct phrase, or is it pleased to meet you? Because Anya apparently says that, and and everyone's like, what? And one thing he's got to throw Anya on her language studies. And yeah, so and yeah, so basically, Lois are gonna do where he should say something about Anya or pretend to be sick. But then reason about SSS trying to verify, but they'll try to get Yor to pretend to be sick. And Yor's remembering where she says she has butterflies around Lloyd, and she's trying to figure out how to deal with it. How like it tolerance me. So Yor grabs Lloyd's hand to build up her tolerance meter for butterflies. Says she's gonna actually make an effort. And so everyone's kind of like how they all look cute together or something, and like you have Yuri's reactions. Freaking funny. And Yuri starts getting sick, and they're like, "Oh, you're fine to leave." And Lily's like, "Oh yeah, we could traumatize Yuri PDA." And now it's so funny. And like you see him, his one he just brings alcohol, and Yuri's like, "No, do not let your drink." And Lily's like, "This is male, cloud her memory, but then and do something that gets him in trouble." And so Yor starts drinking. Both Yuri and Lloyd are concerned. And apparently Wilker can't control his. Apparently he can't hold his liquor either. They are trying to keep Wilker quiet. They apparently Frank realize he has a wristwatch from Frankie that has a tranquilizer needle, but short range. Basically, it has to be point blank. It would be for a way he could use them. Yor make it seem like she passed out drunk, so he has an idea of using it. He's got to figure out how to do it without gaining suspicion from everyone. Now, there's the issue of Yor being immune to poison. That I'm sure could cause problems. Now, if that happens, I'm sure that will cause a lot of things. Now, I don't know if it will like cause. Now, I don't know if it'll make her sober, but it could. But she won't be knocked down. Always gonna be wondering how that's the case. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. The Doctor, chapter 17. So in this chapter, there's a part-time worker named Hannah Oda who she's 18, wants to be a singer, so she does a lot of street performing. And then yeah, yeah. And basically her mother's like single mother. Her mother left her father after he cheated on her. So basically there's economic issues. So so she wants to sing, but then there's the issue of so she's approached by Heiji, notices there's something wrong with her, says she's going to doctor, but then apparently he reduces that she already went, and that there's a tumor that if taken out so difficult she could not be able to sing anymore. And Hannah says she'd rather die than lose her singing ability. And then yeah, so but now since she's away, the tumor's progressed, so you gotta do it as soon as possible. And mother asked for that for singing talent to not be taken away. And then like Ichi comes in to be the surgeon. And he's able to do the surgery, but allow her to still be able to sing. And that's it. But yeah, so it's a standalone chapter. I don't know. That's what this series is gonna be, or if they're gonna do standalone chapters before it ends, or if there's a big arc coming. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Kanto's Magic, chapter 16. So in this chapter, Kanto starts his training, and while he's training, Teresu spies on him, takes notes on him. She's very interested. So yeah, and so while it's going on, Teresu catches Kanto when he falls off a cliff. And so Teresu reacts thinking this first time she touched a man's body. It's so funny. So Kanto's approached by Latina who's one of the people training him. She drags him to the bath, so I guess so they could take a bath together. And then Teresu's in there as well. Like Kanto is shy because be bathing with a female. He sees Teresu, he starts blushing. Teresu starts blushing. They all get in the bath. Kanto goes to the other end, looks away because he's trying to be respectful. Teresu asks Lana how Kanto's doing. And Lana says, he'll be helpless unless he builds up muscle and stamina, but he's got determination. So Lana asks Kinato to do what he does after training, to like his Sei magic. Kinato asks for Lana to put something on. Lana's like, says that men are timid. Like she doesn't know why. He's like, why are you making a fuss over over some tits hanging out? And so Kino says, Teresu asks what he's doing. Kino says he's helping Lana loosen up her muscles, loosen up, and it helps with her flexibility. So basically, like a back rub magic, like a massage magic where. And Lana says she feels so good now, she's gonna do a gnarl. And Kino's like, what's the point of that then? And Teresa's like, well, that's just how she is now, you can repay me. And Teresa says for Kino to use his magic on her, slowly. And then, yeah. But, he explains he's never been able to use his eyes of seeing mana structure and his same on himself. Teresa says, if that's the case, he trained may not be anything but pain for him, because innate skills are everything. But Kino says, that may be the case, but if he can't, he wants to train skills, he wants to at least try. So, yeah. So Terusu says it's well said. So then Kiyoto, so Terusu has like Kiyoto spar with her. Somehow the towels don't come off. But in the way they fall, or Kiyoto falls on top of Terusu. She's like, oh, so you figure Master and Terusu pushes, knocks away for saying don't get so close. So yeah, that was funny. Like Terusu's mannerisms were just hilarious. It'll be interesting, but depends if like if so if Terasu meets Line, that would be a interesting discussion. But yeah, I thought this was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Alien Headbutt, Chapter 15. So in this chapter, Shirokuba approaches Volcano, and Volcano holds Shirokuba's family hostage as, quote, witnesses for the fight. So then their fight starts. And, Volcano briefly uses a sword, but he's like, you know what, this is there's no place for a sword, so it wants to be, it's like hand to head, like full on, like professional wrestling. And he mentions how, Volcano mentions how his family, like he killed his family because he didn't get along with them. So yeah, he beats up Shirokuba, says having a family made him weak. He says, maybe if Shirokuba's family's dead, then Shirokuba will give him a fight. But Shirokuba has his tentacles, you know, trap Volcano, and Shirokuba attacks him. He says family's the reason he's strong. So then the fight's about to happen, so yeah, we'll see the next stage of the fight. Who knows what happens. Yeah, based on this series is ending soon. Hopefully it's not as, hopefully it's not as rushed as Over the Flame. Over the Flame, those last few chapters, holy crap. I hope this doesn't get rushed as bad. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Mr. Fighter episode 11. So in this episode, so the chickens are fighting the demons. Oreo's killed, so all the chickens are pissed. Um, Keiji fights Hikari, but he's beaten, so Keisuke awakens his righteous egg Phoenix Flame. He learns how he was basically a coward, but he got trained to, whereas by his father, to fight demons. So he's able to get that power up. He beats up the demon, and that sets up the rest of the fight. Rest of the Sets up the finale next week. So we'll see how that goes. You know, like how the rest of this fight goes. But yeah, that was a good episode. Like the combat, like they just play the trope straight. I mean, they're freaking chickens. They just play it straight, and it's great. So yeah, that was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Digimon Beatbreak, episode 32. So in this episode, so the Digimon in this one's Funamon. This is a ninja Digimon that Basically, he's like hired to attack information brokers. So Gift is hiring Funamon to kill information brokers. Maki's targeted. You see a flashback to where Funamon had killed had killed Maki's temporary partner Panjamon. And so there was an official partnership, but they were allies. Like 15 years before, so Panjamon dies. And so Maki's captured by Funamon, but then Kyo and where was Sumemon fight Funamon. Where was Sumemon defeats Funamon, turns it back to his like the baby form. And Maki, who was chased by gift people before, she grabs a knife and is about to just hurriedly kill Funamon, but Tomura stops her. So he doesn't know, but he feel like he has to stop. Then Miharu, the 13-year-old who like been watching them, Tomura says that so Tomura believes that so Miharu believes that Tomura will eventually join Gift, which is revealed to be a cult. And then that Miharu's Digimon is the Fistmon. So we'll see what happens there. Fistmon obviously a very demonic Digimon. And basically, the whole Panjamon, you have the tropes of characters similar to that look like a Leomon, die a lot. With Leomon and Digimon Adventure, Tamers, Adventure Try. So basically, there's a multiple versions. Now, Panjamon is just another one. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Like the Maki backstory. Funamon was cool. The gift should be an interesting arc. Let's see what the deal with the Fistmon is. So yeah, I like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Roku's House of Oddities, Chapter 7. So in this chapter, it's Golden Week. And yeah, so Akari brings all like the spirits with them to the Hexenhaus family restaurant. And the waitress sees the group, she's like, what the heck? Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, so and they're talking, Akari's talking to spirits. Everyone's wondering what the heck all these characters are. So in all spirits, they start having fun. Yeah, so and Aki remembers when he was there with his family, grandmother and his parents. Since when these guys approach table, try to flirt with with like Sachiko there. Then everyone, all the male spirits and Akari get away, saying, yes, stay away. Then the dog gets behind him. Yes, so you have, Aki remembering his time with his family that, the family wanted to, looks like his parents are dead, where, so yeah, so then he goes to eat with, sits down to eat with all the spirits, and Akari has to pay a check. And that's it. So yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. See how Akari's dealing with some stuff from his past. And we'll see how it affects, how he deals with the spirits. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Wistoria, Wand and Sword, Season 2, Episode 7. So in this episode, with Will, defeating the Octania as he did, all the factions inside the Scout Will. Like, so kind of like what you know in Black Clover. Except it's like almost like if Asta had that happen to him. Now, Fruits overrules their decision, saying that Will just repurpose magic and actually make his own. So Will asks for, so Cruz gets a special test for Will to defeat a war ooze. Creature that can only be beaten with magic. But Will can't use outside magic and he fails the test because he can't destroy it. Now, Claire says that unchosen candidates will partake in a second bloom in a week. It'll only be 6 months later, but it's moved up to all the people that died at Terminalia. So Will spends all night studying magic. Julius offer, some of their unchosen offer to help him train by going to a dungeon. Well, Julius says he'll train Will, help him manifest his own magical energy. Now, Julius has motives because he believes if he helps Will, he can impress Elfaria. So Julius wants to get drafted, like scouted by Elfaria because ice magic. And Julius says Will needs to learn to anchor the magic in a sword to increase Wiz's duration. And there's a witch that's looking over, the training, hinting at something that like that witch is gonna get involved. So it's implied. I haven't read this far in the manga, so I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Like, it was kind of funny to see Elfie like react the way she did when Kroots showed up. Cause like even the elf, Magi Vander, scouted seems to have scouted well, so it's like they all recognized him. Like they all so I was like, dang, even the elf did it okay. And seems the lightning guy like so you have him the lightning, Magi Vander, Zeo, Sortius Rainbow. He wants Will, but he wants feels like he's Wayne because he wants Will to be able to move up from the bottom and improve and be stronger. So it hints that Zeo's gonna be very important for this. Because Zeo seems to be a very interesting character. So we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. It's to be Hero Destroyerz, Chapter 5. So in this chapter, the so the Shingai Academy, all the students, the building, they vanished without trace. Ended up in the magic world, on top of the ruins where the Demon King's castle was. Well, basically, like the castle crumbled and who appeared in its place. All these vines surrounding it. So it's basically like a new Demon King castle. So Umon wakes up and like they bury the hero. They try to figure out what's going on. So basically, like, so there's called it like another gate that everything was inside of him turned into power. So basically, he feels refreshed now. So by expanding that power, he actually feels refreshed. So the bat says that the little crest on his palm's basically his butthole. That basically he just shot poop out, which is kind of funny. Now all the teachers are missing, so all the students are like, what the heck's going on? So you have the student council. So you have like Taicho's trying to get everyone to calm down. And then he finds so Kaicho goes towards his full name's Masaru Kaicho, student council general affairs. He goes towards the vice president, Sarum, who like basically like is lazy. Even I guess when basically some reason I guess I don't know why she ran. She was made to run, whatever. But she said she'd be lazy. But then everyone decided to vote for it as a joke. So that's why like Shakai kind of devolved like a bunch of lazy neglect, whatever. As he says, she's saying her campaign promise of being lazy and neglectful. And so and then basically I guess their Kaicho had woke Shumei up for a she was sleeping there. He got them a VP to a chief officer, current opening closing. Shumei says, if she keeps it up, she'll pass a motion to destroy the school. And yeah, so basically, where they're at, there's some heroes. They should find them out, figure out what's going on. Then they see him, move on, and Valeria's burying the hero. And Shumei, like, Kaicho's like, did you kill? And Shumei's like, tells Kaicho to step back. And she asks to talk. And she says that she doesn't want them to cause problems because if if they do, she'll cause problems for them. And there's like a crest in her eye, hinting that she has some magical powers now. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Interesting what they're saying up. So you have all the students in the magic world. So we'll see how that goes. I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.